UltraCycling Magazine show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the UltraCycling Magazine show, the show about all things ultracycling, bicycling in general, and just all the information you could ever want for bikes. Hey, Lee, how are we tonight?
Everything you could ever want.
That's
is
right.
Here on this show.
That's correct. You couldn't ask for more.
You have to be a Johnny Carson fan of years ago to understand that, I guess. But
here you go.
Hey, another beautiful day in the Miami Valley. I hope it was just as nice wherever you are.
Definitely. We had a beautiful day today. A little windy, but
it was breeze okay out there, but yeah. It was definitely all tailwinds.
There you go. It always is, and always downhill.
Hey, kind of an important announcement today, but let's get to some of our business right off, Jim.
Who are we brought to by, Lee?
Well, this show started because of all the wonderful people who operate our time stations for the Race Across America in Ohio, 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, where Jim holds out and starts the Race Across the East now, and 43 in Chillicothe. And of course, we want to send a shout out, as always, to Mike Minium, the sign man, who puts these wonderful signs along the road. You can get them at our time stations, $10. Get you a sign. It's on your trophy wall. Great place to collect autographs and so forth.
Definitely. And all of you out there watching, be sure to follow us on Facebook, hit that like and subscribe and ring that bell and share the videos, please. We really appreciate it.
And we've been hinting at the fact we've got something rather important to share with everybody. Mm-hmm. So let's run that first video, Jim.
Well, shout out number 2 for the great folks at Infinity Seat. It's not a saddle, it's a seat. It's a seat. They're very important about that. If you're not familiar with Infinity Seat, fantastic ultra cycling saddles, really made for long distance comfort. I'm telling you, you can probably look at me and tell I'm not an ultra guy. I was a crit racer. And the first time I sat on Phil's Roubaix to ride it across a road to a hotel at one of our stops on Ram, and I sat on an Infinity Seat, I was like, oh my God, this is a completely different experience. Phil can tell you more, but that thing makes a massive difference, especially when you're fighting saddle sores, which was a number one enemy of ours at Ram.
And so the generosity of Dr. Vince.
Definitely.
And Diane, they are donating to us a Elite E3 saddle, the latest and greatest. And that saddle, it has a value of $457, what it goes for. And one of you who donates to our program to put 10 bikes on the road for a world bicycle relief, will get one of those saddles. So I'm sorry to tell you, they're a family member, that you're disqualified, but there is the E3 saddle. Everybody talks about it. Just about everybody, or a great many people in the ultracycling world, ride on it. Jim, tell me about that saddle.
We love the saddles. We've got not that version, but we got the previous version on all of our bikes, and they are awesome. We sprung one on April back at Sebring. She didn't know she was going to ride the 100-mile, and we sprung that on her, and then we fitted her on the seat. And that was the first time ever she did not have to use chamois butter or anything, and felt wonderful after the 100 miles. So we highly recommend them. They are great.
And they don't pay us anything. We just, that saddle just has such universal endorsement. So $457 saddle, you give us any kind of donation at donate.ucm.bike. there's a thing. We have for $553 toward that $1,650 goal now. We want to get that by the time of my 90th birthday, which will be the same weekend as the 6/12/24 Midwest time trials down there in Chillicothe, which Joe and Heather have started.
Yep.
And so get your name in the hopper. We're going to spin a wheel here of just when we're going to do it and how, and we haven't just decided yet. But any donation, but you do have to, I'm sorry to tell you, you cannot make it anonymous. We have to know, in order to be in the hopper, we have to put your name in there. And
Definitely.
you can do that at donate.ucm.bike. Get your name in for a $457 Affinity saddle. Thank you, Marcel's. Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Vince. Thank you, Diane. That's
Yes.
a generous gift. And we hope that this will spur a lot of you to getting on with it. And not only that, if we get the bikes, why Jim and April, I should say,
Yes.
are going to give us 2 more.
A few more if we reach that 10.
On the road. We're not talking a lot about World Bicycle Relief tonight. We've talked about it on almost every show. When you go to donate.ucm.bike, you'll see some links there. You can learn more about it there. We'll be talking about it off and on. And so anyhow, we think this is a great thing.
Definitely. All right, now let's get on to some news. Once again, the new website is hot and live. There's still a few tweaks we're going to make and improve it over the next few weeks. But go out there and take a look at it. It has all our shows and other information out there for us.
Archives there. And so Jim has done a wonderful piece of work, worked hard at it, and we appreciate that so much. Jim?
Glad to do it for us. As far as Ram roster updates, no changes. 80 total racers race across America, 21 race across the West, and 17 race across the East. And registration is closed, so there won't be any changes for the next while. On that note, we are looking for volunteers for the Race Across the East start, as well as our Ohio time station. If you go out to volunteer.ucm.bike or scan that QR code, you'll see a sign-up page where you can pick your spot and come out and enjoy the fun and help us and see some great athletes come through Blanchester or even start at Blanchester for the Race Across the East. So we'd appreciate it if you would come out and help us.
Right. And this coming weekend, Jim, is going to be Calvin's Challenge.
Yep.
Over in Springfield, Ohio. And Jim and April's going to be riding their tandem there.
Yep, the 6 hour.
And I'm going to try to get over there for a part of it and meet some people, do some, maybe record some video while I'm there.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to that. And I believe that he will take walk-ins, will he? Maybe I shouldn't.
I don't know. I know last year he did, I believe, but I'm not sure. I haven't talked.
I think they got 60 this year. They've made a little improvement on their registration.
I think they're up like 20 this year. Yep.
Yep. So it takes a while. So what else have we got on the agenda, Jim?
That basically is it.
Next week. Next week's show, we're having Adam Gadke, I believe his name might be. I don't know how to pronounce it. He's doing Race Across the East, and he'll be with us at this same time. Next week, we'll get more information to you about that. We're just so excited about this saddle, or pardon me, I should say seat. That we're going. I'm old, Jim. You'll have to retrain my brain.
There you go.
It's a seat, not a
saddle. Saddles are for horses.
Saddles are for horses. Don't even say that word, Jim. $457 seat for your donation to World Bicycle Relief. $165 will put a bike in someone's hands that really needs it and can make a difference in their lives, Jim. So
as
let's
well as the mechanic and other stuff.
mechanical support, the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
Hey, let's we've talked long enough. Let's get
Yep.
Jeffrey McElfresh in here.
All right. Here we go.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Welcome.
How are you today?
Hey guys, hey Jim, hey Lee, how you guys doing?
Hey,
Very good.
I ran across Jeffrey watching PBS, and there was this special on about this guy. And of course, he was riding a bike. I right away was interested. Come to find out, he's from my hometown. No, not my hometown, but close enough, Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio.
And we met for lunch. And in the show notes, there's a link to the PBS show about Jeffrey. And the thing about Jeffrey is that amazed me, and as I got to meet him and know him, is Jeffrey, you suffer from a significant disability, do you not?
I do, yeah. CMT, Charcot-Marie-Tooth.
Well, I think that's in the show notes, the name of it. I don't know, but something new to me. Tell me what it is.
So CMT, I have what's called CMT 1A. It is a peripheral neuropathy that causes the signals from my brain and from my spinal column. The further away from that central point, the further away that signal is trying to go, the weaker it gets. So in my hands and my feet, in my forearms and calves, I'm not getting the signals all the way down there. This causes me to lose muscle and to also my tendons will tighten up. So here you can see my hands. Let me get that a little bit better. What happens is as the muscles atrophy, the tendons will shorten, and it will cause my fingers and my toes to kind of claw back or to draw in, if you will. And so it affects the way that I walk, the way that I handle everything. It affects my balance. It affects my hearing, all sorts of things. So it's just a neurological disability that is hereditary. It's handed down. So it's slowly degenerative. So it's slowly getting worse in my life. Makes sense?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yep. Go ahead, Lee.
Well, go ahead, Jim.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I understand, because as all of our viewers probably know, I have cerebral palsy on my right side, so I am fully aware of what efforts you have to go through to make normal things seem not easy, but just do the normal things in life. It's tough.
Yeah, the adaptability is really,
Yes.
really key.
Yep.
Yeah, and
So what
staying level-headed about it.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Well, there's nothing we can't do. That's just put our mind to it and we can make it happen. So what
Absolutely.
changes have you made to your bike to accommodate this condition?
Okay, so in the beginning, I didn't really make any changes to the bicycle other than I was clipping in. That would help me. I lack a lot of spatial awareness with my feet, and also I will slip my pedals because I've lost a lot of feeling in my feet. And so I was clipping in. So I got my hands on some nice sandals that you could clip in with. So those were absolutely wonderful. I do consider those an adaptation to the bike. But outside of that, I wasn't doing much. I've been riding a very old Trek 520 for years and years. I rode this bicycle across the country. It was 30 years old when I rode it. And so I was still, yeah, I was still riding. The bike turned 30. I turned 50 that year. So that was pretty exciting. But just recently, so the bike had rim brakes. I'm talking bar end shifters, everything really pretty old school. And I was having trouble, in the rain and with my hands stopping. I couldn't get a good grip. It was tough for me to shift. I couldn't shift quickly, so I was dragging when I was trying to climb or this or that. So this year, I was able to raise a little bit of money and I invested in a brand new bicycle. So that is a traditional bike and it doesn't have any specific adaptations other than I went down to a 1x11, so I'm only trying to shift with one hand. So I've got just a nice small crank in the front and then a wide wide array on the cassette. So that helps me kind of not have to worry about shifting. I can shift quickly. I don't have to worry about going on the, left hand, right hand, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then I also got hydraulic brakes, which
Mhm.
was a huge. I can go faster now because I'm not afraid that I won't be able to stop. So that's been just absolutely wonderful. It takes very little hand strength to stop with hydraulic brakes.
Yep.
And I actually gave up the clip-in pedals this year and moved to just a single strap over
Mm.
my right foot. So I'm able to basically my right foot is where I really struggle. So I'm able to keep that foot kind of in place, and that's been working for me. It's only been about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months tops that I've had this bike, but I'm just really loving it. I absolutely adore it. I was able to go carbon instead of steel. So the bike
Nice.
is literally only 2/3 of the weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
Excellent.
it's,
Excellent.
yeah. I do bicycle touring, so
Mhm.
I'm still able to load this bicycle with all of my gear. It's considered an adventure bicycle. So I just couldn't be happier.
That is great. Lee?
Well, I just want to say that the PBS show that you can see, like I said, if you go to the show notes, which is on the description of on either Facebook or YouTube, in the description you'll see a link to the show on PBS, which is where I first found out about Michael. But that show shows you riding from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Cincinnati. Is that correct?
Yeah. I rode from Pittsburgh to Cincinnati, and I did that bike on the Trek 520, just to be clear here.
Gotcha.
Um, and that show, I mean, there's a story in the bicycle riding for sure, but the bigger picture of that is a lot of disability representation. That there are plenty of us out here with a disability that are still taking part in adventure sports and living full lives and are perfectly happy. And so
Mm.
that documentary really kind of shows a lot of that type of philosophy. So very cool, just very cool. But Pittsburgh to Cincinnati, that route, whew,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know that I would set out and do that again on purpose.
We always
But
think that after we do on a hard ride, it's like, why did I pick that route?
Yeah,
well, you
exactly.
you followed the Ohio River essentially, mostly,
Yeah,
did you not?
I followed it as close as I could, including, I even took a ferry at one point where I was just getting to the other side of the river. So I really stuck close. I did not take the Panhandle Trail out of Pittsburgh. I really followed the river roads. It was,
Excellent.
yeah, it was cool. It made it a
Mm.
lot longer.
Definitely. Now, do you have any plans coming up of other rides or other touring that you're going to do?
Yes, I do. Last year, I was really gone for a long time, and my wife this year has asked me to kind of stick a little bit closer to home. So
Mm-hmm.
this year, I'm gonna try to do a lot of more rail trails.
Mm-hmm.
The my big highlights this year will be I'm gonna do the C&O and the Gap in order from DC to Pittsburgh. I leave June 1, so you can check me out on Juicy Melt. All of these adventures I post pretty consistently on social media. But then the thing I'm really super excited about is later in the year, towards the end of July, my wife is going to go with me and we're going to do the Greenbrier Trail, which
Mm-hmm.
I have heard nothing but fantastic reviews about. So I'm super amped.
Excellent.
That's
Yeah,
in West Virginia.
it is in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Yep. And those will both be full, camping and self-supported. So
Hey, everybody
really,
out there watching. I see we got watchers out there. Post your comments or questions for Jeffrey or Lee or myself. And if you don't have a question, just let us know where you're watching from.
Let us know if you're a friend of Jeffrey. Let us know about that. We'd like to hear
Yeah.
you too. Jeffrey,
hello.
let's get let's get back to this disease. Um, is this an autoimmune type thing that you're experiencing, or do they know?
No, I don't believe it's autoimmune. Although I mean, yeah, I'm not positive. Um, but it's just a hereditary neuropathy.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, we had Phil Wood on the show last week, who's does a lot of trips for MS, and when you talk about how the nerves and transmissions, this reminds me a lot about the same thing that people with multiple sclerosis experience, but maybe in a little different way.
I think it is a little bit different. I think where their body is working against itself, mine is just petering out, if you will.
Mhm.
Mine is just um, it's a more of a genetic glitch in the matrix, if you will.
Mhm. Wow.
Yeah. Jim, you live here in the Dayton area, and you were just over to the Miami Valley Cycling Summit. We're very proud of what we have to offer here in the Miami Valley as far as cycling. Those of you who just don't want to get out on the highways, we have a tremendous trail system here,
Mhm.
the largest in the nation, I'm told.
They
Uh,
declared it. They
uh,
declared it officially.
yes, that was just in the paper, I
Yeah.
believe, this week. So, what did you learn at the summit there that you'd like to share with people?
I learned quite a few different things, but I think really my big takeaway was how I can how I can use my story to promote and advocate for cycling, and to really get people to think about what they can do to create safer environments for both themselves, their health, their physical health, their mental health, but also tying that in with what we can do to make cycling safer for everyone, such as city planning and engineering and whatnot. That was my really big takeaway. Was it lit a little bit of a fire under for me to kind of get organized and think about what I can do to play a larger role in the advocacy of cycling as a healthy thing to do. So
Mhm.
yeah. Which is, that's where it came from for me. With my initial diagnosis, so I was diagnosed as a child before they had genetic testing, and they basically told me that there wasn't anything that I could do. There was no stem cell, there was nothing like that back then. So much later in life, in fact, only 8 or 9 years ago, I had the genetic testing done. And when I found out what it was that I was really diagnosed with, the doctor told me that there are two things: I can exercise and I can not get hurt. So
Mhm.
the not getting hurt thing is not, I don't, that's not on the table, because that just is what it is. That you're gonna, I got just as great of a chance of getting struck by lightning. But the exercise, it's difficult for me to walk. I pretty much cannot run. Um,
Mhm.
and so I I cycled as a child, much like all of us did, my whole life as a teenager, whatnot. But it wasn't until 2017 that I got a road bike, and I realized how many miles I could put on the bicycle. And that was a way for me to work on my balance. It was a way for
Mhm.
me to get my heart rate up in areas where I couldn't do any kind of real cardio.
Mhm.
Swimming is difficult for me. Again, running is not an option. So that's directly tied to my health. So it was a big deal to kind of rediscover the bicycle. So
Mhm.
that's what I want to do. I want people to rediscover the joy um, of their health. I think that's important.
Definitely.
Well, you're certainly a living example of that, and the fact that uh, the bike became something. Excuse me, yeah, something that you could do. I know we have a great ultra cyclist who has severe arthritis since she was a very young woman, and she found that she could cycle with some adaptation, of her
Yeah,
bike and what have you. And she certainly has been able to do that. So I had another question, but it slipped my mind, Jim.
Yeah, well, he kind of answered my question about does cycling help improve your condition or, make it better? And you kind of answered that already. Correct? It does help.
It does. It's not that it is work. It isn't that it has an impact on CMT itself, but
Right.
everything around it in that world is my focus. So
Yes.
yeah.
And being on the bike for me helps me mentally. Does it also help you being on the bike and knowing that you can do something that may have thought you were out of reach?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll take that a step further. If you have, or if you watch the documentary, which please do. Again, it's on PBS, it's on YouTube. Just search for Jeffrey's Journey, and I know you guys are going to post the link. But
Yes.
the bicycle opened up not only the idea that I can work on myself physically, but it started to crack me mentally, and I started to develop a real philosophy about my life that was so much healthier than the way I had been living. It brought me a peace of mind that I cherish more than most things. So it's been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, riding that bicycle was a real godsend. So
Definitely.
yeah,
I totally
it,
agree. Makes us
yeah,
feel
a real
normal,
lifesaver. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it was a lifesaver in some respect.
Yep.
So
Definitely. Lee, do you remember what you wanted to ask?
Well, I think you kind of got into it there. Jeffrey, this has been a real delight having you here with us.
well, thank
We
you.
appreciate that. Be sure to go to those show notes in the description to see the full, I think it was a 30-minute or was it an hour? I forget. Show, the PBS.
It's about an hour, about
Not
52
an
minutes.
hour.
Yeah.
And shows the whole thing, and he narrates it very nicely, I will say.
Thank
And
you. Thank you. That was my first crack at.
we thank his sister here for checking in with
Hey,
us.
Chancy.
We had a few people out there. Not too many people talk to us tonight, Jim.
No, unfortunately, but that happens. But people are watching, and we'll get a lot of watches on the replays, I'm sure.
Yeah, we get most everything is replay.
Yeah.
And listen, everybody, if you tuned in late, you should know that we now have a Infinity bike seat, the E3 Elite, to give away a $457 bike seat to those who donate to World UltraCycling World Bicycle Relief. My brain can't get together my tongue tonight, Jim. World Bicycle Relief. And do that by going to donate.ucm.bike, our website, and donate through our site there. And we will put your name in the hopper. And along about the end of July, we'll give that seat away, Jim.
Definitely. Thank you, Brent, for the comment.
Thank you, Brent Devitt, for coming in here, or Devitt, or whatever. Glad to hear from you.
That's my local cycling club, Cycle Kettering.
Right.
Very exciting.
Don't go away when we go off the air, Jeffrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Next week we'll see you, Jim.
Yep, we'll see you.
And I should say Loretta was going to be with us tonight, but she's stuck somewhere down in Kentucky, I guess. And I hope she gets home safe and sound. But
definitely,
we'll catch her later.
Yep. Well, I'm going to see if we can find Gregory out there.
See if you can find Gregory.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.